My name is Tyler Bastine. I'm an associate producer for the TV series America's Heartland. Since working for the program, I've been fortunate enough to see quite a few places around the country and even overseas. But one of my most memorable shoots was when we hit the dusty trail in southern Utah for an old-fashioned cattle drive.
You're good to go.
The crew consisted of audio tech Chris Hall, producer and reporter Jason Schultz, videographer Brad White, myself, and videographer Steve Riggs.
And there's your magic mark.
For 3 days we rode alongside the Cox and Heaton ranch families of Alton, Utah, capturing every moment of their annual cattle drive, right next door to the beautiful Bryce Canyon National Park. I'll admit, at times it was a bit challenging, confusing, downright dirty, and awe-inspiring driving more than 200 cattle. Let's just say we were a bit out of our element. This was primarily because most of the shoot had to take place on horseback.
You're making me nervous again.
Which I, for one, hadn't been on a horse in over 20 years.
Whoa, 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 Bessie.
And there was no easing into the shoot either. Bright and early on the morning of the first day was to be the toughest both physically and logistically.
Where are we, Steve?
We're in Utah. Beautiful out in Utah. Rush Meadow. Hanging out with the ladies.
That's right. About to start the cattle drive. This is the calm before the storm.
Absolutely.
Steve and I have to hoof it up those hills.
Right up there.
Up to the very top. It'll be a good workout. I gotta lug all this gear up there. It's gonna be an adventure.
And me.
Oh yeah, can't forget Steve.
Yeah, don't forget to carry me up there too.
Yeah.
I'm not walking.
Yeah. Princess.
We were off. Steve and I booked it up that mountainside as fast as we could with the cattle trailing close behind us. A little too close. Never in my life were the sounds of mooing so intimidating. I knew it was going to be tough, but not this time. The altitude had a major effect on me. But we forged ahead and finally reached the ATVs waiting for us near the summit.
So we've made it to the summit. Barely.
Steve and I had made it far enough ahead of the herd to get our first wide shot of the cattle coming over the summit of the mountain.
All that hiking and running the ATVs for this shot.
Good thing for the ATVs.
You have the tape, right? There's tape in the camera?
Are we shooting tape?
Oh,
Now that the toughest part of the shoot was out of the way, next on the agenda was a brief stop for lunch. This was a much needed moment for the cattle and us to regroup and catch our breath.
I'm on break, man. Come on.
For the remainder of the drive, we continued on as two separate camera crews, keeping in contact with each other through radio. Steve and I, whose primary job was to continue staying ahead of the herd, using the ATVs to capture the wide scenic shots, while Brad White, Chris Hall, and Jason Schultz stuck with the herd to document all the action going on in the midst of the drive. Brad did most of his shooting on horseback using a device called an easy rig. As you can imagine, it's a little challenging riding a horse and shooting at the same time.
A little farther forward, farther forward.
More forward?
More forward.
Tell
Forward.
us where you want us to be. So
Right there. Hang
I'm
on.
amazed at how good they are on horse.
Hang on, I'm running away here.
Sorry.
Johanas.
And,
Okay, we're already not working here. And rolling.
Hey, 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 hey,
Oh,
hey.
slow down.
let's go, Cal. Come on. Head them up. Go, Cal.
Alright, let's try it again.
Now, we weren't the only city slickers along for the ride.
You're making me nervous.
5 guests, dubbed by the family as Dudes, came from across the U.S. and even overseas to embark on this trailblazing adventure. Not only did the 5 of them volunteer to help drive the family's cattle for several days, they also volunteered to have our cameras in their faces
This is so weird. Just look at me.
from sunup
No, please don't put that up.
to sundown. Each day included a hearty breakfast and dinner prepared by Mel and Carl Heaton. And it sure was a welcoming sight and smell. And it was during these meals where everyone involved would come together and share stories about the day's events. It was a time for us to wind down and soak in the experience a bit more. By the third day, we were all pretty dirty and tired, but we were on the home stretch.
Okay. Startled me there.
The finish line was in sight. Well, sort of. There was a little confusion as to where exactly the dudes and family would bring the cattle in at, but we managed to pull it off in the nick of time.
I got her.
It was quite a sight seeing the city slickers help bring in the cattle, and was clearly a moment each of them would never forget.
Oh my god.
It was indeed a rewarding experience for me and the rest of the crew despite all the hard work.
Yeah, how's it going, Steve? How you feeling?
Dave says that.
Yeah, you're looking it.
Did you see his hair? Really, did you see his hair?
I think you're growing a dread. Yeah, that looks like a dread.
Be careful, you might see a bug crawl out of there.
How you feeling, Jason? It's a wrap.
You know, I'm feeling good, actually.
What's up?
Chris, how you feeling? It's
Okay.
over.
I know, I feel a little sad about that.
You gonna-
Ready to take the gear off and just do this for another couple, 2-3 days.
We truly met some wonderful folks out there.
It's been tough.
And documented quite a journey.
All right, I think that's a wrap, fellers. You guys are still making me nervous.